G'day subscribers. Today we're going to talk about how to speak to the police. You're Jules Knight on Jive Talking Garage. So recently, Louis and I got stopped on a Sunday afternoon between a roundabout and a T intersection. So once you were on that piece of road, in the old days, Dad's uncle used to say, because he was an inspector on the motorbikes, he used to say, "That's a trap." So I got stopped in the FJ Holden. I had Louis with me and so on. And the first thing the policeman said to me is, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And what they're trying to do is to get you to incriminate yourself. And so I have, when dealing with the police, and I was a member of the state government for 25 years, so I respect the authority of a state government policeman, but also I protect my own rights as well because, I'm there for me. So in this instance, if you're travelling along and the speed limit's 60 and they pull you over, there's no point being smarty pants. Just be decent to them. And they will look to incriminate you, firstly by saying, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And what they're hoping you're going to say is, "Oh, yes, I was speeding." So that immediately you're guilty, or if you want to fight it in court later, they are recording the conversation because under the Communications Act, one of the two people needs to be aware that it's being recorded unless they have a legal right to be able to do that. But in this instance, they are recording your conversation, and they are looking for you to say, "Oh, yes, I was doing 65 in a 60 zone," or whatever is the case. So they're looking to incriminate yourself such that it makes their job easier. So the automatic answer is, "Do you know why I stopped you?" The answer is no. You don't say you obviously wanted scintillating conversation or you needed to meet me or what. You don't say any of that. You stay very businesslike, very professional, friendly. I always smile at them and you say no. And if it's to do with speed, they'll say, "Do you know what speed you were doing?" And they're looking for you to say, because it's a 60 zone, they're looking for you to say 65 or 61 or 70 or whatever, because then you incriminate yourself yet again. And it makes their job easier. And so your answer should be the speed limit. Do you know what speed you were doing? The speed limit. Because that's what you're doing. I mean, no one literally jumps in a car and just wants to be an idiot and go faster than they're supposed to. However, that's the first thing to answer that question. And you do not have to be specific either when you're answering them, but just be courteous. It doesn't hurt to be nice, and you catch more ants with honey than you do with vinegar. And there's no point going nuts. I mean, Uncle George used to say to us that, he was more inclined to give people a warning if they were decent to deal with rather than someone who was quite testy and caustic. So that's fine. Now, the other thing is, the third piece of this is in a routine stop or whatever, they will ask, "Oh, can I have a look in your vehicle? Or can I search your vehicle?" No. They've got no right to look in your car. Unless there is things in view that give them probable cause, excuse me, they've got no right to look in your vehicle. So, what they will do is when they do flag you down, whether it be because they're on foot or they're behind you and flash their lights and ask you to stop, they will ask you for your license. Registration these days is all electronic, so they're not going to ask you for your registration. They will check your car is registered and who it's registered to. Have in mind the fact that just because the car is registered to a person does not mean to say the fact that they own it. Could be a husband and wife. But that's a whole different matter. Anyway, so they'll ask you for your license. And with random breath testing, they will ask you to blow in an apparatus or to speak in front of a microphone alcohol sensing device. Typically count backwards from 10 or whatever is the case. And then the other thing they might do if they want to sort of ratchet up it a little bit is do a drug test. If you do a drug test and it comes back negative, well then, see you later. That's it. You're free to go. You're not being detained. You're not under arrest. Off you trot. So just be courteous about it. I was pulled over with Louis, as I mentioned before, and it was in a trap zone. And the policeman said, "Oh, do you know why I've pulled you over?" I said, "I have no idea." And I was driving the FJ, so it couldn't have been speeding. I can tell you that right now. He said, "Oh, you've got no front number plate." Well, he said, "Oh, every car must have a number plate." And I said, "Well, with a Q plate, they were actually only issued with one number plate." And he goes, "Oh, that never happened." He said, "And my learned friend behind you, looking at the back of your car at the moment, he's an expert on this." So he brought his mate up and he said, look, the Q plates, they should have two number plates." And I said, when the first Q plates were firstly issued, they were issued with a blank plate and the numbers, and you actually had to go home and put it together yourself. And I said, and then Q plates were issued as a singular plate and they went on the back of the car. I said, that's the first two pieces of it. And then that continued to the end of May 1955, when a new scheme for the double number plates appeared, which was the 1st of June of 1955, starting with number plate NAA 000, and that was the black and white scheme. And then that continued until the iridescent and green scheme started in the 70s. Well, that just stopped them in their tracks, because I knew a little bit I had done a study for one of the Jive Talking members a year before when he was trying to pick a registration plate, and so I went through all of the registration numbers in the months and worked out, knowing how many cars were being registered in the course of a month and what the registration numbers were. So then we were able to work out for him about when the car was dated and about what the range of registration numbers would have been. So I gave him a pick of probably one number in 2000. So it was good to know a little bit about the scheme, because if you're decent with the police officer and not a smart ass, and you come across as knowing what you're talking about, well, in my case, he said, "Oh, well, I'm happy to agree to disagree." I said, "Well, you can disagree all you like. You can't change history." And I've quoted you exactly what the historical scheme was. And so on that note, they had taken pictures of my car and all of those sorts of things with their iPad, and I'm sure it went up into the cloud for future reference. And so if I go past another patrol car or something like that, I'm sure it will ping or whatever is the case. But because I at least had knowledge of the subject matter, and in this case, historically better than the police officers, well, they just let me go, as they should have, because in 40 years I've seen thousands, vehicles with Q plates, and every one of those old original Q plates were issued with one. Now, there's obviously new schemes and stuff like that now. And what in my discussion with the policeman, he was saying, well, you should have a number plate if at all on the front, because you might go through a speed camera or over the Gateway Bridge or through a toll road or what. I said, so it's revenue raising now, is it? And so he stopped at that. I said, look, they were issued with one number plate. That's it. So in this instance, I was courteous, polite. I wasn't a smart ass, and I just spoke to the policeman with dignity, treated him well, and gave him the respect that he deserved, but also stood my ground. So don't forget, when you're dealing with them, if they pull you over, do you know why I pulled you over? No. Do you know what speed you were doing? The speed limit. Is it okay to search your car? No. And they will probably browbeat you. Do you have something to hide? No, but the answer's still no. You've just got to know your rights. Anyway, don't forget, share, like, and subscribe, but more importantly, enjoy your holding.